So there's some great CEOs that have built some amazing companies. I've had the pleasure of working with one of them, but on another one was doing an interview. It happened to be the former CEO Howard Schultz of Starbucks. And he's doing this interview on TV, and I catch a part of this interview, and the reporters are asking him, "Oh, wow, Mr. Schultz, and tell us about where do you get the coffee from, and how do you do it, and where do you get the beans from? What countries do you?" And he's kind of smiling, and he's starting to chuckle, and they said, "Sir, you seem to be laughing a little bit and smiling. Is there something going on there?" He said, "You really don't understand my company, do you? You think we're a coffee company. We're not. We're a people company. We happen to make coffee." And that really struck me. And that's been an amazing thing that I've remembered from a few years ago, that, wow, that's the truth. And it kind of reminds me, I fly around a lot, and my favorite airline happens to be Southwest. I use them almost exclusively. I've used other airlines, and I belong to their clubs as well, and they're all great airlines, but Southwest is unusual. And when Herb Kelleher, I guess it was back in the 60s, but I was flying him in the 70s, a lot, and been flying him ever since. He did a thing about starting a company here. It's got to be the right people. And I know I need the right pilots, and I know I need the people that clean the planes right and make sure that the engines are working right. I get it. But the people that interface with our passengers, those people have to be special. And I don't need them to be experts in that. I hire for personality. I hire for how do they get along with people, and how do they deal with people? How do they look at them? Do they crack jokes? We don't need to be all that serious in an airplane. When you're there and you're going to be on an airplane for an hour or 2 or 3 hours, you want a little bit of levity there. So even when they're doing safety routines, they will make sure that their relationship with the passengers in the seats, they'll throw in a funny line here and there. And that's because we hire for personality, not for their experience working in airplanes. And I just love that ever since. And the company's been that way ever since for the last 30, 50 years. So it's kind of neat to see. And the other is Lee Iacocca. Obviously a fan of his. I worked for him. I was with Chrysler for 20 years. My last 5, he was there, and got to work under him and with him and for him in several assignments. He was all about people. When he came on board, Chrysler was broke. Chrysler was broke for the last 20 years it existed. But he came in to save it. And the guy's making $1 a year the first year he was there. And you're there, Mr. Iacocca, to save this company. We got 80,000 workers, we're going broke. And they're all gonna end up on the streets if you don't turn it around and save it. One of the first things he did, this is unbelievable, was to invest in training. And of course, all the math people, all the CPAs, all the financial folks, you must be nuts. You're investing in training while we're going broke. I don't know that we have any money for training. No, we're gonna turn this thing around, and I want the best people in the world, and I want them trained properly. So I remember going to several training classes and doing 360 interviews and doing predictive index and all kinds of testing that he would ensure that we did with our people to be sure that we have the right people. We're not going to do this by some magic that I'm going to bring. No, it's the 80,000 people that we have working for this company. Those are the ones that's going to turn this company around and save it, not just me. And I just thought that was so cool. So those 3 CEOs just come to mind when it comes to people.